All right. Good afternoon. I'm Mazvita Maraire, and this is Rainier Avenue Radio.world. That's who we're broadcasting from, and this is Seattle Sports Weekly. How y'all doing? And just glad for another week, for another great show. We got a really big show today, and we always have another big show. And the sun is shining, and couple things going on. So we're gonna have Eldridge Recasner come on, talk about basketball, that being the college and pro. If you didn't know, well, you should know. He played basketball at the University of Washington, and he's also a Pac-12 commentator, and he played in the NBA for several teams, Houston, to name a few. And yeah, so we'll kind of get a lowdown. We haven't talked basketball for quite a bit, and why not hear from the legend in terms of the lowdown on basketball. We'll talk NFL draft combine. It just finished. NFL the combine and what that does to the draft. So the Huskies showed up and showed out. Rome Odunze and Michael Penix kind of go into that a little bit. We did go to the rain practice yesterday, as I promised. So we'll talk Rain FC. They had their first practice yesterday to the media. Talk a little bit about that. And we have an interview with Shea Holmes, one of the players there. We'll talk to Sounders. And the lack of goals continues for the Sounders, because they ended up 0-0, disappointing, absolute disappointing draw to Austin FC. It was a cold night, I get that, but 30,000 fans, 0-67, braved the conditions. And talk a little bit, second part of the show about that. And we'll also give you a Mariner update, kind of break down really where the Mariners are at. Projected lineup a little bit, because it's close. Mariners are close in terms of where they're at. 3 weeks out, March, the Boston Red Sox. So it's the Mariner baseball season is just around the corner. So we'll talk about that as well. And what else? Yeah. So has anybody seen the Bob Marley movie? I haven't. I'm waiting on a friend to go see it. So, yeah, you got to see it. It's One Love, highly acclaimed life of Bob Marley, and Rita Marley is actually his wife. Is her eyes and everything else. And Bob Marley was a poet, and he really was about peace and music and those kinds of things. And I'll have to give you a movie review when I get there, but I was obviously, touched by Bob Marley, and because when Zimbabwe got its independence, 1980, Bob Marley was the featured artist to sing, and so I don't know, amazing, amazing poet. I think that's just the best way to put it. His words and everything else that he speaks in empowerment and music, and through empowerment through music. And that's really what Bob is preaches. And I think he he's really about that, right? And I think a lot of music, say what you want about music, but it is an artist's interpretation of something, right? So we get that, but I think his message really just speaks to the spirituality of it. And so different music, different artists express music, and those, use music to express those things. You've heard about, well, not, right, about hip hop, the old hip hop, the new hip hop, and, and all of that stuff, and how it evolved into where it is now, and, remember you had the East Coast and the West Coast and those kinds of things. But again, in the end, it was always, um, about somebody's view, about somebody's, what they thought of and what they experienced and wanted to convey. And sure, East Coast, West Coast, I don't know, Midwest and what have you, it's fine. Just like reggae as well, another music, right? There's the old genre, the new, and the evolution of. You see that in jazz, right? There's old jazz, John Coltrane, if you will, and others that came along. But jazz evolved just like the blues. Um, and there's that nexus there between the blues and the jazz. But those old blues, there's new blues, and for me, it's just funny when people are like, oh, I don't know about that music. Well, you don't have to know about that music. I mean, everybody's got their own music that they wanna. That's the whole thing. It's like, why would you say to somebody, why are you reading that book? Well, that's just because, like, that's the one I'm reading. You read your own book. So, and that's the beauty of it. So, uh, individual artists, and we get to pick and choose exactly. There you go. It's in theaters right now. We get to pick and choose what artists and what genre, what interpretation that we want to listen to and follow. And that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just really that, you know, the beauty of, where we live. So, and speaking of that, as I said, man, I'm gonna have him take us through this because I'm a little bit. I'm not up to my A game in terms of basketball and all those. But as I said, what better individual than, you know a legend at the University of Washington, and played professional basketball, as I said, father, and I ask if he's still doing any more real estate, and he just does it all. And he's also he was the Pac-12 announcer. So yeah, let's ask him about the Pac-12. Hey, Eldridge, what's going on, my brother?
I'm good, Mars. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Right on, man.
All
Thanks for.
right, good to see you, man.
Oh man, hey, we're at that age. Good to be seen. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Well, we're gonna talk both college and pro, but you said it was bittersweet. You had a post about bittersweet, the Pac-12, and bring us to speed on the Pac-12 because we haven't talked about the basketball Pac-12 at all.
Yeah, I just wrapped up my broadcast season. I had a game Sunday evening, Stanford at Cal. It wasn't on the Pac-12 Network; it was on FS1. But that was my last game of the year. Yeah, man. It's just, to be honest, it's been a weird year. Knowing that the conference was going away, and I think as we got closer to the end, the producers, the director starts saying goodbye. Hey, Elders, this is my last game, man. It feels weird. And the last couple that I had, I thought my last Pac-12 game was going to be USC at WSU, and then Bill Walton couldn't make the UCLA game. So my last Pac-12 network game was UCLA at Pullman, and I did that with Ted Robinson, and that was just weird. But yeah, it just was a weird year, man. I love the Pac-12 network because I think we could pump up our own schools and our own players, where a lot of times ESPN and Fox didn't do that. I felt there was always a lot of East Coast bias, but I thought the guys, the former players and the former coaches from the Pac-12 did a great job of just telling the Pac-12 stories, man. So I'm going to miss that part of it.
As a player, you obviously excelled in the Pac, at University of Washington. What's that emotion like to see it go?
I just think you feel like your history's gone. I'm in the Pac-12 Hall of Honor, but it's like, who's going to know, if there's not a conference anymore. I mean, obviously they can't erase the memories of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, the Brandon Roys, the Nate Robinsons, the James Hardens, the Russell Westbrooks. But There's not going to be anywhere where you can look and see it and follow it, with the conference. So that's the part I think that's the worst for me, man. Of course, the only thing that's constant is change, as they say. And UW moving on to the Big Ten, Stafford and Cal moving to the ACC, Arizona State going to the Big 12. I mean, the people will still be able to follow their teams and their fans. But I thought the Pac-12 was a special conference, man. It had been around 109 years since 1915, so it just sucks. And I've been a part of it for 39 years. So yeah, man, it just I can't put it into words, Maz, but it just you feel like your kid and your dog just died, man. It's just that type of a feeling.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. So yeah, it's sad, but so what's next for you? A little bit before we delve into the conference, you be having all kind of hats. What's up next for you now?
I'm still trying to do the real estate thing, man. So I'm still trying to make that happen. It's been really, really rough. The last year has been absolutely horrible. So I'm just trying to get the word back out, man. Let people know that I'm a real estate broker with John L. Scott. Hoping I can pick up some buyers and get some listings from some sellers. But it's been rough, man. So that's kind of where I am. And as far as broadcasting, I'm not sure. I don't really know anybody in the Big Ten, so I think I'm going to try to go out and find an agent. I didn't think that I really needed one with the Pac-12 because I knew the people. But I think it's time for me to get an agent and take that next step, man, because I think I'm just as good as anybody else out there that's doing the commentating. So I'd like to get a job. I mean, if I had my preference, I'd like to get an NBA job as a color analyst. And if I couldn't do that, then just land with one of the bigger networks and just get more work. Yeah.
Well, I mean, man, like if you're doing Pac-12, you're doing FS1. I mean, like you said, that's a smart move. That's just a matter of, somebody going, hey, my man's over here. Let's get him on the broadcast. So, and your unique style, everybody, I mean, I'm kind of in the business, and everybody loves that unique style. And how can you not? I mean, you like you said, you're a player. You've coached a little bit, on the pro level. So when I look at the Pac-12 standings here, oh wait, John Real Estate, where can they find you?
John L. Scott. I'm at John L. Scott, Bellevue, Maine, which is downtown Bellevue. Yeah, that's where my license is. This is my third year with those guys. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, man. John L. Scott, Eldridge Recasner, John L. Scott, Bellevue, Maine. Yeah.
Well, you chat with Tyler Lockett because he's a real estate, but he's got all the Hawks kind of.
Yeah, I haven't chatted with Tyler, but I got a friend that works with the with the Seahawks. He's telling me, well, man, Tyler has a thing now. I'm like, well, man, you can shoot me a couple deals. Tyler don't have to get them all.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but that's what a smart move by Tyler Lockett, man. I got to tip my hat for him and him to have the presence of mind to try to do this while he's still playing because so many guys are making such big money, not thinking about life after football, but it goes to show you that he is. So I got a lot of respect for Tyler, man. I tip my hat to him.
well, and you too. I mean, I think we can't, well, let's stop and throw some flowers a little bit. But I think the ability of, to go from one career to the second. Now you're on your third career. You know what I mean? I don't think people kind of understand that takes some talent, but also, I mean, it's you're doing kind of what you want. You know what I mean? And that's the key in life, right? Is to make those choices so you can make choices that you want.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, man. But I wish I had the vision of a Tyler Lockett to when I was playing. I think, I took a couple years before I got into real estate. I've been in real estate since 2002, but I was an investor. But I wish I would have got into it like he has while he's still playing, man, because then it's just a smooth transition. But everybody's got a different walk. I had kids and I didn't want to bounce around with them because coaching is, basketball is my passion. I've always thought that I would be a coach, at the college or NBA level, and it just hasn't worked out that way. But I think for me, having four kids played a role in that. I didn't want to bounce them around the country. It seemed like you got to do when you're a basketball coach. I see some of the NCAA level guys are starting to get dismissed, and the NBA, I know it's going to be a busy off season as well. But I chose to want to be around, man, and yeah, you gotta stick with the decision that you make, and that's the one that I made.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Just then we'll get to basketball, but we're on that Jason Kelsey retired,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and during his speech, he talked about the times with his brother and how important. And he said one of the best things you can be is a father,
yeah,
from a male perspective. and there's Travis Kelsey, just bawling his eye out at his mom. So at the end of the day, family is the key, right? It's a tie that binds. So you make all the money you want, but if you ain't taking care of home and your kids and family, we see what happens on the other end.
Yeah, you've seen me out there, Maz. I had a son that played. He didn't go on to play college basketball, but you saw me out there when he was in the youth basketball. You actually officiated his couple of his games and stuff, and that's moments you can't get back, man. So I don't regret it from that standpoint. But if I could do it over again, I may have done something different career wise, because I do love basketball, and I think when you play in the NBA, you just think, hey, it'll be easy to get in at some point, but that hadn't been the case for me, man. Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like it's a different time as well. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I mean, when
yep,
you played as opposed to now, is which is fine, right? Even in college, these guys walk out and they say, "Hey, what kind of shoes you got? Hey, I'll give you an NIL deal for your shoes." You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just what it is, right? It's no good, no bad, but it's the evolution.
yep.
And speaking of evolution, what I'm looking at the standings here, Arizona State. Okay, we get that, but Washington State 14 and 15, second. What happened? What's going on in the Palouse?
Kyle Smith's done a fantastic job, man. I mean, he lost four guys from last year's team. He lost Muhammad Gates in the NBA, so I guess you can't say he lost him. But T.J. Bamba, D.J. Robbins, and another kid named Justin Powell, and I really thought they were going to be at the bottom of the conference. But he went out and he found a guy named Isaac Jones at the University of Idaho, who he brought over 8 miles. Miles Rice, and they've got another kid named Jalen Wells, Donald Watson. Isaiah
Yeah,
Watts is playing well here lately. But Kyle Smith, I think, is a fantastic coach, and I think a lot of it is luck, because he picked up another big guy named Isaac Clough, and man, they're just playing some really, really good basketball. Obviously, Arizona's number one in the league, but Washington State beat them twice this year, so they still have a chance to win the Pac-12 outright if Arizona slips up in these last two games. I think they play UCLA and USC, and obviously Wazoo just has one left. They got UW and the Apple Cup over there in Pullman, but they put together a really good team, man. I don't think it's a fluke. I think they're the real deal. I called 7 of their games this season, and I just watched them get better as the year went along. And I think the difference maker has been the kid Jalen Wells. He's really stepped up his game, and he's playing some outstanding basketball. Isaac Jones has been consistent, and so has Miles Rice, who will probably be the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. And I think it's a shoe in
yeah.
that Kyle Smith will be the Coach of the Year.
Where and I'm sure obviously you did this in your studying of him, but where did Smith come from, and what's his story?
Kyle Smith came from San Francisco, and before that, he was at I think it's Cornell, I believe, or Columbia. He was at Columbia, and he's kind of developed a reputation as rebuilding programs. And what he's done at WSU, man, is just, I mean, it's amazing. The last time they were ranked in the top 25 was 2008. At one point in the season, they won 8 games in a row, and the last time they had done that was 1947. So, so he's just flat out getting it done, man. And I would think that he's gone. I would think that he would move on to a bigger job this year, especially with WSU not going to the Big Ten or the Big 12 or the ACC. So, I'd be surprised if somebody doesn't come in and scoop him up like Alabama did Kalen DeBoer. So, yeah, I think he's going to be out of there, which is going to be unfortunate for WSU. But that's how that business is, man. Guys can make more money, go to bigger programs. That's what they do.
Yeah, who was the Kelvin Sampson comes to mind, right? And then
Yeah.
what's his name that went to Virginia as well, right? So there's precedent. Who went to from uh
No, you're
W-
getting you're getting Calvin. Calvin was a big time coach at Oklahoma. You're thinking about Tony Bennett, who went to Virginia. Yeah,
right? Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Bennett's son. Yeah,
yeah. So
there
there
you
were
go.
two of
Yep,
them. Yeah,
yeah, yep,
yeah. There
yep,
were two
yep,
of them.
yep.
To your
Tony Bennett did an outstanding job. Calvin Sampson did an outstanding job, and then of course George Raveling before all of those guys. So that's the four guys that then took Washington State to the NCAA tournament and had a lot of success.
yeah, George Raveling. I mean, yeah, but and he didn't go anywhere after that, right? The
Rav,
WSU. Yeah.
yeah, he was at USC. He went from WSU to USC. When I was in
Oh, that
school, he was at
okay.
he was at USC. He was the head coach at USC. Yeah, yep,
Right. Yeah, no,
yep.
I remember a little bit. I follow that. So, yeah, you mentioned it. And we want to tiptoe a little bit, but I guess the good news from your alma mater today, I got this. Let me read it. the UW set to break ground on Husky basketball practice facility. How important is that for a program to kind of, you know, what does
I
that
think
do?
it's I think it's really important, because most of the bigger programs have UW has the Marv Harshman court and they got the little East Gym behind the thing. But I think if you want to stay competitive and get the best kids, you got to have the best facility. I hadn't seen the article yet today, so I have been hearing about it over the last I don't know how many years. It's been about 10 years I think since they were talking about doing it. So it's good to hear. And I think if they want to stay competitive and get the best kids in the country, you gotta have the top facilities, and you gotta have some NIL money, man. I mean, that just seems to be the name of the game now. So I think a new practice facility would give them a lot more leverage to bring in some big time talent.
Yeah, no, they sent it to us, me, I guess media at 11:02, but $60 million, fully donor funded, over a million coming from Husky basketball legend alumni. Yeah, there you go. So it's expected to be completed in 2025.
Oh wow, that's pretty fast. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
The Storm just they'll open up their new facility. That's the thing around here. The Storm is opening up their facility before the summer's over, right? And the Sounders. So the way of the having your own facility seems to be key. And and I'll stay with the Storm just for a quick second because Neko Gumike and also Skylar Diggins signed for them, and they said what part of why they signed with Seattle was because of they had their own facility
Yeah. Yeah.
dedicated.
Yeah. It makes a difference, man. I'm not as familiar with the WNBA. I don't know how many teams got their own practice facility versus how many don't. I know the Storm were practicing over at SPU, but it's just great to hear. There's a lot of money here. There's a lot of people that love sports. So it's good to see them getting behind the Storm and the donors at UW, giving that money. So they 60 million, that's not no chump change, man. That's a lot of coin. Yeah. But it's you got those kind of resources around here. So that's good to see. Yeah.
All right, so we get into the NBA a little bit.
Yeah.
You've been
I haven't
following.
watched it as much because I've been in my college season, but I try to keep my eye on it a little bit.
Well, wait, in terms of the college season, if you watch, I mean, we can stay for a second. Nationally, you keep an eye out there, and what are your thoughts nationally?
A little bit, I watched a little bit of Houston versus who were they playing? Oklahoma the other night. Oklahoma gave them a good run. I like Houston with Calvin Sampson. I think Purdue with Big Zach Edey. Arizona in the Pac-12. I'm tired of seeing UConn on TV. Seem like every single day, but I think those four schools are probably the front runners for the Final Four. But I don't think there's really one dominant team that you say can't be beat. So I think it should be a really, really good March Madness. It's kind of unfortunate that I think the Pac-12 in this last year is probably going to only get three teams at the max, and they might just get two. I mean, Arizona and Washington State are in for sure. I think Colorado's right there. I think Oregon is out of the picture right now, but I think Colorado has a shot. And unless somebody else outside of those three teams can win the Pac-12 tournament, you do that, you get the automatic bid. But I'm hoping that the Pac can. I was hoping that they could get four teams, but I think out of those teams that they have, Arizona on paper, probably has a chance to make in the Final Four. It's kind of puzzling that they would lose to Oregon State and Stanford and Wazoo. But, that's just been the kind of season that has been. But they're still ranked pretty high, and they're the top-rated team in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, here the AP's got them at number 5.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yep.
but behind Tennessee, ahead of Iowa State.
Yeah.
But the only thing I like about UConn is old boy from Garfield plays for them, right?
He's on the team. He doesn't really play a lot. Jalen Stewart, yeah. At least from the games I watched, he hadn't gotten a lot of burn. But I think he's just waiting his turn. And I hear he has a pretty nice NIL deal, so he's probably not worried about it. He's getting paid. Yep.
Oh man. Before we go though, I've been watching a lot of the women's college basketball, to be quite honest
Yeah.
with you. I
Caitlin
watch
Clark.
more of
Yeah.
them than I have the male.
Yeah.
And
they probably got two bigger stars in the male side when you think of Caitlin Clark and Juju Watkins at USC. I mean, two of the biggest names in basketball, period. I've been tuning into them as well. Yeah.
don't forget about Hannah Hidalgo, Notre Dame. I talked to Jewel Lloyd, and she did some press thing, and I asked her, and Jewel was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see her play." Hannah Hidalgo.
Yeah, I can't lie to you. I'm not familiar with her. Yeah. But I'm not a big Notre Dame fan either, so that's probably why.
You still got
Yeah, man. I'm not a
oh
Notre Dame
man.
guy.
Those
Yeah.
things are,
Yeah.
your allegiance are there. And the
Yep.
other one is Asia Flowiley. I mean, she's over there, South Carolina, and obviously Dawn Staley's got her team undefeated. Again, South Carolina. But yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. The I say this. I think Caitlin Clark is in a place of her own, but both of these are freshmen. I know you talked about Juju Watkins, but they're freshmen, and Hidalgo, and she's a freshman. She's averaging like 26 points a game as a freshman at Notre Dame. So I think they will revolutionize the women's game in 3 years from now. I really do. So, what do you see? What do you think of the NBA All Star game? Too much scoring.
I thought it was the worst one that I've seen, man. It was terrible. And it's unfortunate because I know the NBA is trying to figure out ways to make it competitive. But I think the biggest difference is back in the day when people think about when the NBA All-Star game was good, guys didn't have these humongous salaries, and they were trying to play hard to get endorsements from Gatorade, Nike, Colgate, Pepsi, Coke, or whatever. And now these guys, they're making 50, 60 million a year, man. They don't give a damn about no endorsement. And they're just going out there, and I don't know what the hell they're doing, man, because it's the tickets, I think, are over $2,000 for that lower bowl. And if I paid that kind of money to see that kind of performance that they put on at this last one, I would really be ticked off, man. But I don't know how the NBA fixes it, but it's turned into a joke. Yeah.
And then so the teams you've got the Celtics, right? I mean, I'm just looking at the ratings. They got the Celtics number one, who
Yep.
seem to be playing some pretty good basketball.
Yeah, I just saw them. I think they beat the Golden State Warriors by 52, man. I couldn't believe it. At first, I thought it was a typo. I don't believe Steph Curry played, but still, to lose by 50 in the NBA game is pretty bad. So you gotta think the Celtics are probably the favorite to come out of the East. Out of the West, you still can't count out Denver. I don't know who's going to win it. Milwaukee picked up Damian Lillard, so I don't know how good their chances are. But yeah, hopefully the NBA playoffs are always good. So I'm not worried about that being a disappointment. But nothing trumps March Madness. March Madness is going to always be the top dog when it comes to I think basketball, and I think the NBA playoffs and the finals are right behind that.
Yeah, and just your thoughts on LeBron and the points.
Amazing, man. Amazing. To be 39 years old in his 20th or 21st year is just, it's unreal. I watch him and I just say to myself, you can't dispute numbers wise. Nobody has had a better career over the life of their career and play at the level that he has. I mean, even Michael fell off at the end, Kareem, Karl Malone. You think about all these guys that Kobe that played all those years. Nobody's played at a level that he's played at, man. And just like he's still the same guy, and it's really unbelievable. So I tip my hat to LeBron, man. He's been outstanding, and it's been a run that I don't think we'll ever see again. I mean, just by the fact of him being healthy to play 20 years, I mean, you got to be really, really lucky to not get any kind of serious injuries over that amount of time. So I just don't think anybody else is going to be healthy to play that long like he has, much less put up the type of numbers that he has. And one of the greatest of all time, man. I mean, I still got to take Mike and Kobe over him, but when you look at his numbers, man, he's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and it seemed like he went through a body transformation a few years ago in terms of he changed his diet, and you could tell that he went more from, as opposed to being bulky, just to be, more of a slimmer, basically looked like the dude was doing, yoga and those kinds of things. So he was more flexible in terms of that. So I think those all have to do with our times. And
yeah, I hear he spends over $1 million a year on his body, man, which is insane. But he's got to be doing something to keep himself in shape and to keep himself healthy, like he's doing. Like I said, he's been amazing, man. He's been a great role model. He seemed like he's a fun guy to play with. I've got the ultimate amount of respect for LeBron. I just hate when and I'm guilty of it myself. We always want to compare him to Michael and Kobe. I think we should just enjoy him for who he is and then give him his flowers, man, because he's been amazing. Over 40,000 points. That's just insane, man. I never thought somebody would break Kareem's record in You never know if somebody else is gonna come along, but I just think it's gonna be hard for somebody to stay healthy for 20 years and to play at that high of a level.
Yeah, we're not gonna see it in our lifetime, anyways. That's for
You
sure.
never know. I just wouldn't bet on it, because you got everything. You got to be really, really lucky, man. Everything's got to fall into place. Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking in my age, and he'd have to play 20 years.
You might not be around to see it, Miles. I
Yeah,
hear you. I hear
somebody
you, man.
probably will, but it ain't gonna
I
be.
hear you.
You
I hear
know,
you, man. I totally hear you. Yep.
but be wearing bifocals and whatnot and whatnot. One more thing here. Did you see the Garfield girls basketball team? I ain't gonna stop talking about them. I mean, I refed them a few times this year. They won 4 in a row.
You know what? I wasn't even aware, man. I haven't been keeping up. My son's out of high school. I didn't go to any high school games this year,
Sure.
and I had a pretty busy college basketball schedule. So yeah, I missed it. But hats off to Garfield. One of the premier programs in the city for boys and girls basketball. Didn't get a chance to see him, but congratulations to him. That's awesome. 4 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm more giving you more info. I finally got something you don't have. You know what I mean?
Well, I know you out there, man. I know you out there in the city. I'm an East Side guy, and then Miles, I had my mom. I had my mom this year too, man, doing hoop season. So it was kind of hard for me to get out taking care of my mom. So that's another reason why I wasn't able to get out there and see much. So, but congratulations to those guys. I heard East Side Catholic beat Rainier Beach for the boys title in 3A. So congratulations to them as well.
Yeah, it was a slugfest. Wait. How's your mom? She doing a
She's
thing?
good. I've since switched out with my sister, man. But her Alzheimer's is really advancing. It's been really, really challenging, Miles. I can't lie to you, man. But she's still here, alive and kicking, and I just try to do as much as I can for her. If you saw her with me at all the UW games, and if I had a game at UW, I would bring her with me. But the disease is advancing, man. So if there's anybody out there that's listening that's a caregiver for somebody with Alzheimer's, man, I'll say a prayer for you guys because I know firsthand how difficult that is. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Peter Hatrip. I won't say much more. He takes care of his dad as well.
Yeah.
Former son. He comes on.
Well,
And does,
prayers out to Peter, man, because I
yeah.
know firsthand how challenging that is. Yeah.
No,
Yep.
you got a good balance in there. So I'm gonna say, yeah, exactly. So the Garfield won, and then Eastside Catholic won. So it was Roydell Smiley. He was coached him to two seasons.
Took over for Trey Simmons.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yes, indeed. Yep. Congrats to Smiley, man. Yeah, and the Garfield Bulldogs. Yep.
Yeah, to mature too. You know what I'm saying? That he's matured as a coach, if you know what I'm saying.
I heard that, man. I heard that. Yeah. Yep.
There's a couple bench warnings I've had, but he's anybody that's out there doing it for our kids.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yep.
Lastly, what did you think about the because you're a football guy, Pete Carroll and everything else? What's your thoughts on
I was a bit surprised by by all that he's done, but man, you gotta win. I mean, you look at Bill Belichick, who I think people consider to be the greatest of all times. New England went away from him, so nothing lasts forever, Maz. It's a new era, man. What can you say? I love Coach Pete. I thought he did a fantastic job because I've been around him and I know what type of person he is, and I think he's one of the best at managing egos and personalities. He did his thing. It's just time for this new guy to come in and try to see what he can do. But I just don't think they're going to be able to capture magic in the bottle the way they did, 2012, 13, 14, man. It just was a special team and a special run. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen no time here in the future, but who knows?
I'd give him a couple years. Let me go on record.
Yeah, man. That magic in the bottle. That happens once in a lifetime, Oz. I mean, you look at New England. When they got rid of Tom Brady, they're in the toilet. And I'm not saying it's never going to happen again, but I just don't think it's something we're going to see right out the gate. But you never know. I like the Seahawks, and I wish them nothing but the best. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. I was a little heartbroken, a little bit, or empathy when Pete had his press conference.
Yeah, I think everybody was.
Yeah, I mean,
he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, there was a sense there that like he didn't quite
That
senior.
wasn't his choice. You could tell it wasn't his decision to walk away.
Yeah.
But he is, 72 years old? And
Yep.
yeah, man. Like I said, nothing lasts forever. You got to try to do the best that you can when you're there and when you're in the moment, and then when it's over, you look back and you say, "Hey, I gave it my best shot." That's pretty much, Miles. That's pretty much all you could do, man. Yep.
It is. All right. Well, thanks. We're gonna go on break. Thanks for coming on, E. Might have to ask you right before March Madness, in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can do a bracket thing and have you break it down for us.
Yeah, you're my guy, man. Anytime you need me, I'm here for you, brother. You've always been nice to me over the years, so that's one of the reasons I'm willing to come on with you. So thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, wait. The Super Bowl's in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's in New Orleans. I didn't go to the Sugar Bowl, man. I didn't go, and I was kind of disappointed that I couldn't. But hopefully, I can make the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Everybody that's gonna go is gonna have a blast. I think it's one of the best cities in the country for events like that. Super Bowls, Final Fours, anything like that, man. It's one of the top cities. Great food. Great hospitality. If you like to drink, you can get your drink on as much as you want, which you can't do in most cities. So yeah, that's gonna be a good one. The way you talking, you think Seattle might be there, huh?
Well, I'll be there one way or the other, whether they go or not.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, you're gonna have a blast, Miles. Yeah, if you need any.
What do you mean? Hold on, I might text you for that extra bed. Hold on, we ain't done yet.
No, I hear you, man. No, that should be a good one. That should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right, thanks again.
Appreciate all right, Miles. Take care, brother.
Talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go on break. That's Eldridge Recasner, one of the show-friendly guys. We just chat. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna go on break, and we're long overdue. But this is Seattle Sports Weekly. I'm Mazvita Maraire. We'll be right back.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not translating the lyrics of Boogie Oogie Oogie for bored Europeans, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects. For more information, visit kingcounty.gov.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts, Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Hey, Seattle, here are some storage tips to love food, stop waste. Onions make potatoes sprout faster. Keep onions away from potatoes. Ripe bananas give off a gas that makes the fruit around them ripen faster. Store bananas away from other fruits. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz, an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, all jazz in all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Cascade PBS, presenting season 2 of Out and Back with Allison Mariella Desir. Join Allison as she explores the Pacific Northwest with changemakers who are reclaiming space in the outdoors and creating opportunities for local BIPOC communities to engage with nature and find joy and healing. It's available now on Cascade PBS app and airing on KCTS 9 Thursdays at 8:50 p.m.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at RainierAvenueRadio.world.
All right, we are back for second half and probably third quarter if I look at that clock. So Again, a big shout out to Eldridge Recasner, one of the amazing human beings in sports in all different levels, and you heard about it. You know, family man and basketball player, Pac-12 legend, and also said played professional basketball. So, and he's an announcer, and now he's doing some real estate on the side. So a little bit of a pivot. Absolutely. Speaking of other nice people, um, as I said, we went back. The Rain are now practicing, and they've got 2 preseason games. And what we'll try to do on the show here as well, not only get you guests, but also bring you some insight. And of course, the analysis is there, and we'll always do that. But with teams, especially the Rain and the Storm, heck, all the teams, we'll always give you some exclusive interviews that we do just to because that's what we do. We want to be the place where you can come and hear exclusive interview analysis and have fun and Neil Wardley stuff and things like that, because we just want to keep it poppin' and different. So I spoke with Shay Holmes yesterday, and she is a second year with the Rain, former University of Washington player, and a very interesting story here. So what we're gonna do, D-Money, do you play it? Oh, I play it. Here is the interview yesterday. This is get to know your FC Rain player. So, the journey to get here.
Yeah.
What was that like, and what grounded you to get here?
Oh gosh, honestly, I mean, for long story short, had 3 ACLs all within the span of the 4 years of college. I think just what grounded me was just like the motivation. I always knew I wanted to come back, and then knowing what this team was like and what this team was built of, I think it always just was an extra goal of mine to want to stay home when that goal got closer. So I think it grounded me just in the fact of I loved being in Seattle. I loved this culture. I loved UW. I loved this team. I loved playing under Laura. I think all those factors just is what kept me going. I knew I loved soccer, and this was amazing opportunity for me to finally reach a dream of mine. So long journey, but worth the process.
All right, so I'm gonna make a long question as there he goes. The train goes. This is all okay.
Yeah, no worries.
There we go. So second year. And it's you just talking about that jump from first year to second year. Mm-hmm. Just how what did you work on to get ready, and how excited are you to show your improvement?
I'm super excited. I think last year being rookie year, I think it took a lot of more just growing, absorbing. It kind of was more like a backseat role to be able to learn from all the greats in front of me and just all the national team players, all the veterans. I think it was really cool to do that. And then this year, I think going into season, it's exciting because it's kind of okay, now we have higher expectations for you. Now we saw what you can do. Now how can you raise that, and how can you be challenged with that? So I think that's what's been exciting coming into this second year, is that they all have a higher expectation of me. I have a higher expectation of myself, so I'm excited to kind of challenge myself in that realm. Knees are healthy, so those aren't a concern. And I'm super excited to kind of float like a butterfly and sing like a bee this season. So
okay, rope a dope while we talk about that. But nobody has higher expectations than you.
Yeah.
So for you, it doesn't have to be numbers, but what are your expectations of self in this upcoming season?
I think in general, it's just be able to I guess obviously everyone's goal is to play more. I think that's always the goal, and I think that's always something that people strive for, even if they are starting. It's how can I be better on the field, and yada yada. So I think for me, numbers wise, it's I have no expectation on kind of minutes and all that. I more have an expectation on I want to be in that group, whether it's bench or starting, and I just always constantly want to have that competitive fire under me, which they bring every day, to just constantly get more. So it's not really numbers for me, it's more just I'm excited because I really think this year is the year to kind of come out of that shell a little bit from rookie season. I don't know, I'm excited. So
okay, so the last one, the obvious elephant in the room, we talked about staying home.
Yeah.
And guess who you play?
I know, you know. I'm stoked. Obviously my sister's still there, so she'll be a senior this coming season. It's their first spring game. I'm super excited. I've been telling everybody, I was I think it's more just the fact that I get to play against my sister and be on the field hopefully with her at the same time, just because we didn't get a lot of time of that together, so it's just a different feeling. But no, I've definitely been telling her, I'm like, yeah, you got to watch out. We got some quick forwards up there. She's a defender also, so I'm like, not going to tell you their weaknesses because they got not many, but just be careful. No, she watches us all the time. She's excited. Yeah, it's very special, going to be a special moment to kind of be out back on that field again, have family come up and all that stuff, just for a fun little friendly to get ready for season.
I have to ask one more, the obvious. When was the last time you played with your sister?
It was probably my last season at UW, so probably my 5th year. We played Air Force preseason,
Right.
and we got to be on the field for a span of like 5 minutes together because we were beating Air Force like 7-0 or something like that. So we got to play center back and outside back together, so that was fun. So it hasn't been too long, but it's been long enough that I'm excited to do it once more. So
Long overdue, no doubt.
yeah, exactly. Before she heads out, we'll be good.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Talking with Shay Holmes. All right, so there you go. Shay Holmes of Rain FC and Seattle Rain FC, I should say. I don't know why I keep dropping the Seattle off there, but to just talk about the schedule. So they play the UW. You just heard her talk about that, and that's on March the 6th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. over at the UW soccer field. And then looks like, and then that Thursday, a week late. Well, it's a little bit longer than that. April the 11th, they play Seattle University, and again, that's got to be at Champions Field in the Seattle. So there you go. So get a chance to see. I like that. I like how the Rain is playing a couple of the local, D1 college teams that are there. And we talked about UW, and obviously the upcoming, they'll play Seattle U. In terms of league play, the Rain will start March 17th against the Washington Spirits, which is a Sunday. As I said, March 17th, 3 p.m. So you can get your tickets. Go to rainfc.com and you can purchase the tickets. All right. And then we'll continue our pivot because pivot is what we like to do. And I was going to go, I should go to the Sounders. In terms of the Sounders suffered a pretty disappointing, as I said at the top of the hour, a 0-0 draw here. And I guess I could go. Could just give you I'll just give you a breakdown of the report we did on my post-game report, and that'll give you tell you more about that. There's no need for me to go into it, but I think one thing to watch for today, and you're not going to know this, we'll know next week, and it's here in the post-game report here, but in terms of today, they will do an MRI on Pedro de la Vega. The Storms. There we go. Hold on, we'll get this. Here's their star player. They sign him. Nagging hamstring injury. He ends up, he doesn't start the first game. The loss 2-1 LAFC. He plays really well. Comes off the bench. Starts against starts against Austin FC. Guess what? Bam. There we go. Kid gets injured. So we'll find out the extent of that. But here is the post-game report for that.
Because right now at Vistaprint, all signs are 20% off. So you can bring in business with durable banners. Make your message stand out with yards.
Seattle Sounders are winless after their first 2 games of the season. Season began down in LAFC with a 2-1 loss. It continued today with a 0-0 draw with Austin FC. And this was a game you were hoping and looking, the team was, to score some goals, start out fast-paced, and they tried to do it with the high press, but the inability to make plays inside the final third was a big issue, and here's what Brian Smetzer had to say.
Outside, balls coming out, they had packed defenders, offset pieces, rebounds coming out. Jeremiah, I'll have to look at the tape to do a little bit deeper dive into it. Sometimes, knew who had a good game, and some of those crosses from deep in that corner are not very good. It's what's been plaguing us since last year. And I thought there were some good moments, but it's just, we're close, but we're not close enough. We'll keep after it. Leo Chu had a good game, and look, by the way, he's got cramps. There's nothing major there with Chu. If he can be that effective, if Raul can find some form, I think we'll start scoring goals.
Jess.
What did you make of your midfield three tonight of Josh, Obed, and Pedro?
They're three young, talented players. I think Obed, a little bit stronger game. He's a little more physical. Josh, obviously.
I've fed Mouse and talked shit about
one of his strengths, and Pedro, you see the quality that he has.
Miles, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, Brian, just sticking with inside the box play. I know you haven't gone into a deeper dive on it, but are you seeing the runs you need to see going inside the box to move defenders? And is there interlink play from the back, the mid block to the front block that you need to see?
Yeah, look, I'll start with some set pieces. So one set piece that, Andy works on out to Alex Jackson, that inside the box header over a smaller opponent. Maybe he got to put that away. I thought you saw, on the left-hand side, the ball came across. We had numbers in the box. Alex rolled in once or twice, had the ball on his right foot. So, I think there is some positives to take out of it, but guys have to make plays. Do they shoot? Do they take a touch? Do they take a touch to move a defender, and then when he tries to block it, cut it back in between his legs? And some of those little subtle things that they need inside the penalty box, that's just what we're lacking.
Miko.
The injury or the severity of the tweak or whatever they want to call it now, we'll get an MRI and I'll give you more information on that on Tuesday. I don't think it's a bad one. It's not the one that he was coming back from. It's the other one, so we'll have to take a look at that. But his play, I think the kid can play over here in the middle and on the left. I think he just needs to get used to the league, the physicality. I think he needs to get used to his teammates a little more. Remember, it's not much time on the field in actual games. Certainly there's training, but he's got to get a couple games under his belt before I think we really assess him. But the things that he did do were good. There was a one time where he, waited a little too long and kicked the ball out of bounds. I think that comes with a little bit more game experience. But Andrew is a super talented goalkeeper, and he's enjoying himself right now. He's all smiles in there because we made a point out of it. Somebody in the back, way back there, reminded me of that stat, and getting a clean sheet at home certainly is one of the positives of tonight. Fast guy. I thought his defensive work was great, but again, all of those things are kind of, being overshadowed now by his not being on the score sheet. So we'll continue to work with him. He's still going to be effective. Let's see about De La Vega's injury. I might look at Raul and Jordan together, and let's see what that looks like. So it's a work in progress, but Jordan puts everything into the game.
All right, so there you go. Brian Smith is just really talking about the team needs to score goals. It's something that they're working on, but they're trying not to panic. But it's something that's now is an issue, and compounding that, winger Pedro De La Vega will have a MRI on Tuesday to see the severity of a tweak that he had, and that could compound things in terms of they brought the player in hoping that he could be dynamic, create space, which he did today up until he was he suffered some kind of a tweak. And again, MRI will be taken on Tuesday, and that's when we'll know. So all right, so there you go. You don't hear the outcast on that outro, as we call it, and I won't know. As I said, we'll know they're practicing right now, so we'll know later today, and we'll have that news for you next week. But I'm just thinking by the time we speak next week, the Sounders, because the next game is this Saturday, it's a away game, so they're going to play the Philadelphia Union 4:30 MLS TV if you get a chance there. And if I pop up here, the Philadelphia's right now, they're playing well. So the Sounders have overall, oh wow, Sounders 4 wins, Philadelphia 5 wins, and 4 draws. So it's a competitive match here that you should see. And I'm going to go to the standings right quick here. You'll be able to, that's where big game for them coming up. And I think there's a lot of news coming up for the Seahawks today. NFL free agency. Teams are now begins the 13th. So right now what teams are doing is releasing players or letting players that they will not renew their contract and whatnot. And that's you saw that with Russell Wilson. The Denver Broncos said, hey, to Russell Wilson, we're not going to re-sign you. We're going to cut you. Basically, it's a cut. But with them, that being the Denver Broncos, they have the $84 million cap hit. And so what we've heard right now is that the rumors, if you will, I'm going to go on Twitter right quick because I like to give you the latest with the couple of minutes we have here. But it looks like, for all intents and purposes, the Seahawks are going to release Jamal Adams, which wasn't, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and tight end Will Dissly clearing $25.3 million in cap space. So, you kind of thought about it with Jamal Adams. He just wasn't able to come back. And now Quandre made a lot of money, and that put them over the cap, and Will Dissly the same thing. So what this does, as I just said, it gives them $25.3 million in cap space. So that means they can go out and sign some of the players that they, in their mind, are going to get them over the top. So a lot more news to come on that, and we will give you more news when the time comes. But it's a business. You heard Eldridge talk about it. It's a business, and when we talk about businesses, it's not personal, but it's business. And so the team's always trying to stand at the salary cap and get better and get players that cost them less. And the players are trying to help the team, but also get paid. So more to come next week. And for that, it's a wrap. So for Seattle Sports Weekly, I'm Mazvita Maraire from Rainier Avenue Radio.world. D-Money, thank you for all, pulling all the levers behind the scenes. Eldridge Recasner, and want to thank the Rain for allowing us to have Shay Holmes interview yesterday, which you got to see. All right, so we will be back next week. Again, I'm Mazvita Maraire. Thank you all for listening, watching, and however we're coming to you.